Our first presenter is Mr. Oniel Sanford. He was recently director of bands at Jackson State University. Since becoming a music educator in 1965, he has held a number of positions, including the following: visiting professor of music, principal recruiter, and director of bands at Jackson State University in Mississippi, Sevier High School in Faraday. I don't know if I pronounced that right, I don't get close. Director of bands, director of marching bands, arranger and trombone instructor at Mississippi Valley State University, director of bands at Virginia State University in Pittsburgh, symphonic band and marching band director of University of Minnesota, director of bands, University of Pittsburgh, director of bands at Norfolk State University. While at Norfolk State, Dr. Sanford also served as the chairman of the Department of Music. Mr. Sanford earned his Bachelor of Science in Music Education from Southern University, right here in Baton Rouge. He has a Master of Music Education from Vanderbilt College in Chicago, and studied jazz composition with composer and arranger Tad Jones at the Conservatory of Music. He is also currently the founder of the HBCU National Band Directors Consortium, and served as the president for 14 consecutive years, and is founder and chief organizer of the HBCU Battle Fest, Battle the Band. So without further ado, we have Dr. my man, Oniel Sanford.
Good morning, everyone. I don't even know that guy that he was talking about. A lot of years in the profession. It's been a great profession for me. And of course, as you know, in everything that we do in life, everything is not 100% positive all the time. But we have to make it work. We have to make it happen. I've been blessed in a lot of ways. When he called me about coming back, I was here last year for the first one, and it kind of made me reflect on why, after returning, being away from the HBCU schools for about 20 years in mainstream university, Big Ten, Big East conference, I came back to HBCU schools, and it was like deja vu. Meaning that same system and the same things that were happening when I had left 20 years past was happening, still going on. The symphonic bands had not improved for a lot of reasons, of course, because the administrations were not putting the necessary funds in place in order for people to what? To buy instruments. When I started deja vu, when I left Southern University, in 1965, that was before your mom and daddies were born. When I left there, I had never seen a counterbass clarinet. I had never seen or heard a 5 or 4 French horns in a symphonic band. There were many instruments that I had never come in contact with during my era. So after being away for 20 years and experiencing what I experienced in the Big Ten, when I returned, I'm doing the same thing that needs to happen here. Our organization, HBCU National Band Directors Consortium, is surviving. There's a need for the organization to be, for us to get together. Not that you're going to do or pull away from going to the CBDNA, if you're a college band directors and music education conference. You got to go to that. The Midwest Band Clinic. How many people go to the Midwest Band Clinic? That's not enough hands. You need to be there. You need to know what the NBA is all about, the National Band Association. You need to go and hear and stay in tune and in touch with what's happening and the new trends that are going on every year. You can't imagine what I saw when I first went to the Midwest Band Clinic. I was like a kid in a candy store. Didn't know, what to do. I saw things. And then the last thing before I get on to what he asked me to kind of talk about is my first experience of hearing a symphonic band was when my college band director came to my home, and the same summer I graduated, told me to get some clothes. I didn't even have, I didn't have a suitcase. I came out the door with my stuff kind of in a paper bag almost, basically. He said, you're going to go with me to the University of Michigan and experience, you know, the band world in another level, because I believe that you're going to be a leader. I didn't have a clue. He drove up to my home, and up in about 17 miles. Anybody know where Cheneyville is? Cheneyville? Yeah, it's out in the country, way in the boom. He drove up there, picked me up, told me to get some clothes. You're going to the University of Michigan to this workshop. Very similar to this, what's going on. What do you mean? Just grab some clothes, all you're gonna have, we're gonna buy, you're gonna go. I went up there, and the first time that I heard a symphonic band in full instrumentation, it scared me, because I heard double B flat clarinet, E flat contrabass clarinet sitting on the bottom of that clarinet section in the band when they warm up, and the overtones were just flying across the room. I was kind of blessed to hear pretty good ears. Right? I heard stuff that I had never heard before. It was a whole nother world for me. That, I said that quickly, is because you need to go get involved. I see Will back there, he's going like that because he's like a kid in the candy store when he goes to Midwest Band Clinic and other guys. So you gotta go find a way to deal with that. Excuse me. The band world, over my 50-year tenure in the profession, you know, things have changed quite a bit. And as I travel across the country, United States, and goes internationally, I'm doing quite a few things with the Conselma company. I'm now a Conselma rep, an educational consultant, and I'm loving it. It's a great opportunity. The greatest thing that happens is that they have found a way for people to do what? Acquire equipment, you know, for your programs. You cannot be successful in it unless you have what? Equipment. You gotta have instruments to put in the kids' hands, and they come up with a plan over a 5-year period where, say for an example, you have $100,000 in your budget to spend for instruments, or $20,000 a year you have, or $10,000 a year. Well, you multiply that times 5, 10,000, it's gonna give you what, 50,000, 100,000, if you got $20,000 over a 5-year period. And I'm not doing a plug for Conselma. I'm just telling you the things that you need to know. That if you have $10,000, you have $20,000 for an example, and that's going to give you what, basically $100,000 over what, 5 years. If you can convince your administration or your band boosters organization to commit to $20,000 a year that you're spending already for what, upkeep on the instruments, repairs every year, and the whole bit, 1 or 2 trombones you buy. If you have that $20,000, what you can do is what? Pay that $20,000 at the beginning of year 1, and Conselma will do what? Deliver all of your instruments to you at one time, meaning that you don't have to feed in 2 sousaphones here and 5 trumpets this year or whatever. If your instrumentation that you're looking in the future, if you want what, 8 sousaphones, you'll be able to do all of your 8 sousaphones and 4 baritones, and 8, 10, 12 trombones, and whatever you want, and clarinets, and the whole bit. You'll be able to get all of that after you pay the first $20,000, and they deliver your whole lot of instruments to you, and you pay what, $20,000 a year. That's a heck of a plan, and you need to know about that. And I think it's Nova Jones, is that correct? Nola Jones, where's Javon? Yeah, she's from the Conselma company. She'll be here, make sure you talk to her. Now, how many people need equipment right now? Raise your hands. All right, so you make sure you get to Ms. Jones when she come this afternoon and do something. Now, moving on, and I'm just gonna be short because there are a lot of great clinicians and people that's gonna come up and have a lot of things to say, and you're gonna hear a lot of things that's gonna be repeated. But the more, you hear it, finally it lands in, osmosis happen, you hear it, now, go like, how many people have heard of Dr. Isaac B. Greggs? Raise your hands if you know Dr. Gregg, if you knew him. And I brought him up because he believed this, and I'm going back to this. He believes that if I tell you every time I see you that I'm the greatest band director that ever walked the face of the earth, and he can tell you that because that was his style, and that's the way he did things. Over and over again, you say, I'm the greatest band director that's ever walked the face of the earth. I'm the one who designed the first step to heaven, and they tell you that over and over again, you keep hearing it, then you'll start kind of believing it. So you're gonna hear a whole lot of things coming from what? Clinicians that don't come up here, repeat it. Don't be shy, be afraid to ask questions. No question is a dumb question, because what you don't know, the person sitting there next to you may not know. So you have to do what? To ask questions and get involved with what's going on. This is a terrific thing for you guys to be involved in it, and I encourage you to be involved. Now, I passed out just some things that I picked up over the years, and some of my colleagues in the Concept company, they have used it at workshops such as this over the years, and it kind of falls in line with what we plan to do. It's being able to construct and develop a music program or instrumental music program and deliver as a great program at the same time prepare your students to do what? Be successful and have a great experience. That's what it's all about. You're also preparing your students to what? To be knowledgeable enough to be able to go into a Jackson State and Alcorn and other University of Mississippi, Louisiana State University, and take what? To do an audition and be able to get into the music program, not to be a music educator, just to participate, or just to do what? Just to be involved because they love music and pay their way through school. You have that responsibility to do that, and you have to prepare your students to do it. It's a tough job. Now, when you look at your contracts and you sign your contracts, how many people were hired to be a band director? Raise your hands. To be a band director. Your contract says band director. How many people were hired to be a music educator? Raise your hands, don't be shy. I need involvement because I'm trying to go somewhere. I'm trying to go somewhere with this. Now, regardless of what it is, that principal and that administration is going to expect you to deliver a band. In order to deliver a band, you have to first have standards, know what a good fundamental instrumental program is supposed to be. A total instrumental program is going to involve what? A concert band, what else? Chamber ensembles. You're gonna have to have what? Good scheduling in your program. You can't do it and be successful unless you can have schedule your kids. How do you teach the different sections? Now I know in New Orleans, you do the football games, and after football season, you have what? Christmas parade. After the Christmas parade, you have what? Mardi Gras. People are doing what? 8, 10, 7, 11 performances with their bands to generate money. Am I correct? Will, am I correct on that? Now, when do you teach the kids? How do you teach them? How are you teaching the basic things that they need to be able to go to the various schools and do auditions? You have to find a schedule. You have to make a schedule. And the person that you have to work with is going to be who? principal. You go into a situation, you have to identify the people that can get you where you need to be with the program. But first, you have to have tools in your what? In your toolbox. And that's what one of these things I'm talking about. The things that you must start from day one. If you look at the second thing here, these are things that you must do every day in your program. You have to teach these kids all of these things that are necessary. You have to tell them. When do you tell them? When you're trying to get ready for a football game on Friday. When do you tell them, all about the things that they need? Every time you see them, you've got to remind the kids, of course, their hand position, armor shoes. You have to know this first before you can do what? Share with your students and teach your students to do what? To do the right things. But when you do it, you're trying to get you're getting the pressure from the administration to put a football band on the field at halftime at the first game. That's on September 1st, and you didn't get your kids but 1 week prior to. What do? You spend all your time trying to do what they need you to do. Now, all of that being said, the most important thing for you to do is have a good relationship with what? That principal. You're going to have to get them to understand what it's going to take in order to be able to what? To put together a total instrumental program, and it's going to take what? Scheduling. You're going to have to get convinced the principal that he's going to have to get to what? The counselor. And have the counselor to schedule the kids so they can get in your class. It's impossible for you to do it any other way. Kids can't stay after school. A lot of kids, in some situations, kids are happy that they have something to do at the end of the school day. I know, I keep talking about Mr. Rollins. I've spent a lot of time with him. He's a consummate school, and I spent a lot of time in his program, and his kids be glad to be able to stay after school, because when they go home, they don't know what they're gonna find. On their way home, they're happy to have somewhere to go. So going back to the original point, you've got to be a salesman, you have to be a magician, you have to do all of these things, but most of all, you got to communicate with that administration and your schedule. When you deal with your clarinets, dealing with the marching band, how many people pay attention to clarinets? Most people don't. Because they don't know what to do with the clarinet. A lot of people what do you do with a clarinet and marching band when you've got 16 trumpets that are screaming and you don't hear them? How do the woodwinds survive? What do you do? Because most of your attention is going to be on what? That mellophone and that baritone and that trombone and that sousaphone. And we'll talk about percussion later on. But what do? Do you have a schedule where all of your woodwinds will come to you at one time? That's ideal. That all of your brass will come to you at one time. That's perfect. And then what? The monster, the percussion section. What do you do with percussion section? That's most of the time in most high schools and universities. The percussion section is your biggest problem in terms of discipline, because what? They don't have, a lot of times people just come in the band rooms, hard percussion, go out there under the tree. We're gonna play this, make up a part for this. Am I right? Does that happen? Yeah. Go behind the building over that percussion and be over there doing smoking dope, doing everything else. You know what I'm saying? And they come back in the back and they fired up and they doing that thing back there, And they find a groove, because, we can do that. We can find a groove for the tune, but are we really teaching them? Are they being taught? Are they being taught? Can they actually, when I'm talking about this because Mr. Pollard told me to talk about it. You actually, we just kind of let them go because we're uncomfortable with where they are. And if you're a flute player, if you're a trombone player, you may not have the skills, but one thing about our kids, they can get back there and find out how to find that groove. And the other thing, they can play all of the rudiments, every one of them. And then you take the rudiment and you write it out and put it in their face and say, we don't do that because we're not teaching them how to read. Now, how do you teach them how to read? You have one period for everybody in band. How do you teach your percussion? How many people have keyboard, percussion keyboard in the band rooms? Raise your hands. You got a way to teach those people music too. They have to learn music, so what you have to come up with a system of being able to teach them not only rhythm, they can hear pitch, they can do other things. They just like everybody else, they can actually hear it, but they don't get an opportunity to do it. Now, over the years of going out and recruiting, and I recruited from Seattle to Miami, you name the state in the United States, I've been to every state in the United States except one, and that's Oregon. And not all recruiting, but I've traveled there, British Virgin Islands, all over the Bahamas, and auditioned almost in the States, in the mainland. One of our major issues are the lack of skills on the clarinet. That's probably the weaker instrument. Now, what are you going to do? What can you do in order to improve that? Then you what? Mr. Little is at Dilly High School in the same town that I am, but he's a clarinet player. You're a trumpet player. You need to have a relationship with Mr. Little and ask him one day a week, if nothing else, come over to my school and mandate your woodwinds to be there so they can understand, coming from a professional, what it takes, what kind of reeds you need. Where is the tongue when you articulate? You need a specialist. So what I'm saying here, the point that I want, I'm running long here, the point I want to make is that you have to be what? Use everybody, have a relationship with your colleagues, in your county, in your city. You have to have a relationship, know what they play. If you don't have that ideal situation, how many people have an ideal situation if you have all of your woodwinds for 1 hour every day? Raise your hands. How many people have all of that brass for 1 hour or one session every day? A percussion. Then how do you do it? The students are being what? Cheated because of what? The block system. Your job as a salesperson is to get to that administration. It goes back to the administration when you take the job. How many people gone on a job for the first time? I see some of my young guys back there from Jackson State that's getting ready to go out in the profession and do that thing. When you go in and sign that contract, you need to get a good understanding of what's expected of you from what? The principal and the administration. A quick example. One of my former students just got released from a job. I'm not going to call it city. Middle school. Marching band. How many people have a middle school marching band? Raise your hands if you haven't. You're probably not gonna like me if I say this, but that's not a good thing. Because all of us are intelligent, and yeah, we know what's good. We know that kid just picked that instrument up, within the last year, or within 1 week, or within 1 month, and then the principal is going to put pressure on you to to have the band ready to play in the stands. This guy I'm talking about went into a system. The principal was not interested in music education or developing a program. All he wanted was a march. He forced him to do what? To put together a marching band in middle school. And he went and personally, principal wouldn't buy method books for him. He wasn't interested in method books. He went and took money out of his personal account and bought what? Method books. So he could start teaching. He started teaching the kids, and the first game passed and the band wasn't ready. The kids had never touched the instrument. Third game, about middle way through the season, the principal started coming sitting in the back of his room with the method books because he's trying to get the kids going. By the end, just before the Christmas holidays, he told him that put them damn method books away and teach the kids how to play music. True story. Kid called me on the phone, young man called me on the phone, Doc, what I'm gonna do? You know, he's telling me, so what am I supposed to do? You know, I said, try to go talk to him, try to go to the supervisor of music in the county and tell him in the city and tell him what you're faced with. Go talk to the supervisor of music. Went and talked to the supervisor of music, who was Caucasian. Guess what he told him? He said, well, I'm not gonna bother that because that's a culture thing. I'm not gonna bother that. He told him, put the damn method books away and teach the kids how to play some music and get them ready for the Christmas parade. That's the story. So that's what you're faced with. And I wish I had a good hour to just go back and pull some things and some experiences. But for anybody, for you to know, I live 10 blocks away from the school. I've been over. You know, if you need me to come out and assist you in a way, I can do it. The company actually will pay for me to come and do that, you know, because I make my money selling instruments. And so if you decide you want to do something, give me a little call. It's very lucrative for me. I've been doing quite well with that, and I'm not bragging. The point is that I have I have thousands of students that went and programs under me from the university. I mean, all levels of. They know, and I'm in the Summer magazine. So they, Doctor, selling instruments. I said, yeah. He said, I need some instruments. And I've been with the company a year and a half, and I've sold approximately $4 million worth of equipment to the schools. I mean, it's great to do that, but at the same time, you know, I enjoy having that stretch coming in, and I'm retired, and you know, that helps out. So I'm going to get out because, and then, like I said, if you guys are interested in reaching out to me sometime or just asking some questions or you need anything, I got a library full of music that I'll give with you. I'll come to your school. I'll, you know, do whatever you need me to do in order to help music education and help you in your situation. So thank you very much for inviting me. I think you've got a hell of a thing going on here, and you guys keep this thing alive and keep it going, because it's just as important and parallels with what we have with the HBCU National Band Directors Consortium, and then you need to come to that. Why? Because of all of the university directors, you know, not all. We have a great percentage of schools who have membership every year. They come, you get a chance to meet, interact with those. That's just as important as going to the CBDNA or going to the, Midwest Band Clinic. All right, thank you very much. Keep it going. I'm gonna get out the way. Appreciate you guys.